Take a look at this storm system. It's enormous.
I'm about to show you proof that the government conducts live human experiments upon the population and knowingly kills American. I know it's always hyperbole when people say that, but I can openly prove this right now by using this film right here, The Day After Tomorrow. When it came out in 2004, think about it, the day after tomorrow. So they tell us. And then the day after tomorrow, which would be these horrendous storms, all the people died, it's the same scenario, don't worry, here. I'm going to prove it to you right now, right here. It says, example 2, in areas of very high density of airplane traffic, such as the central areas of the United States, aircraft would use fuels with relatively low sun shading factor. This would prevent such unusually cold winters, as was the winters of 2006 to 2007 in that area. Now, why is this important? Because if we look at the date for this particular patent, if you need to see that, it's in my last video. I got it out because the date wasn't in this one, but if you see it, it's right here. These dates are directly after the winters of those times. We have, 2007, 2008, 2009, and yet when you read it, it's almost as if it's it's the answer to all the problems, where they ran the experiment and then this is answering, the questions that they had. It's exactly how it reads. So they do all the spraying, all the terraforming, and then it's like in the areas with this, we need to do that because we had an unusually cold winter in 2006 and 2000. So this is how we're going to fix that. This is so it doesn't happen again. And notice how we are getting these still crazy. Why? We already know why. It's because dun dun dun, you already know. Who do we know was about to be president in 2008? So do we know of any disasters who do we know that was president in 2006 and 2007? Oh yes, that's right, George W. Notice how they were killing civilians every 9/11, Winter Storm Katrina, they were just sacrificing. I have the right here. Winter 2006-2007 brought many major winter storms across the United States. An early damaging winter storm struck Buffalo, New York in October. The first large storm in the Midwest occurred on November 30th through December 1st, marking the start of the climatological winter. It caused more than $0.9 billion in losses and costs. Okay, see, this is why this is you can go pull up this story. Even though they conducted it in Illinois or whatever, they still show you where everything happens. And they even lay out right here, look. The goal of this study was to provide detailed descriptions of the 3 extremely damaging Midwestern storms and to examine their impacts. See, they don't even deny that these were extremely damaging storms. And lo and behold, how we have in that the solution to that. They use too much sun dimming factor in those. Because this is a high airplane traffic area, so they needed to separate the formulas. That's why they needed a mixed blend. They needed that coastal. They needed that Midwestern. Just like your gas, we have the unleaded. We have the regular. We have supreme. Unbelievable. Same thing goes with sunscreen for the planet. Can you believe this? I mean, look at this right here. The season's last storm in the Midwest on April 10th to the 14th. So it even admits that this was the last storm in April. And when that self-help come out in June. Unbelievable. Look at this. It was the nation's 14th winter storm, and the nation's 2006 and 2007 winter storms are listed below. Look at this. We have them all right here. If you want to see, do you know anyone in these affected areas? Could you imagine that this is the laid out damage? This is where all of that stratospheric aerosol injection was taking place. Unbelievable. Look at this right here. The three extremely damaging storms in the Midwest occurred on November 30th through November 1st, February 12th through the 15th, and February 22nd through the 26th. Ensuring discussions cover dimensions of each storm, atmospheric conditions causing each storm, and storm impacts. The report summary compares and evaluates impacts of the three storms and assesses climatological factors that helped create these storms. I'm going to let you in on a little pro tip right now. In their little climatological factors, they don't mention at all stratospheric aerosol injection, terraforming the Earth, using two types of fuel blend. Oh, well, I guess they didn't have them at that time, but using a sun-dimming fuel blend application spread across it. Was there a discussion for any of this? Were we told about any of this? Was there an open debate? Do our representatives even know that this is happening, or is this they're just getting paid under the table to not talk about it? If you were confused at where all the damaged and this is just one section, so you know there's three of these. So I'm not going to put all three. So you could go look at this and see the damage. But I mean, it's all pretty much the same areas. So I mean that what's the point? This is just for like geolocation factor, for if you need a imagination in your head to place yourself. Yes, this is what this is for. So you can imagine the blizzard around you like the day after tomorrow. I already know what I'm going to do. But I'm going to see if I can get that clip where it shows where the storm is like brewing over to New York, all the way the Midwest. Remember when it shows all the way down and people are fleeing to Mexico? Unbelievable. Look at this. Oh my gosh, the storm on February 12th through the 15th caused more economic losses in the east and northeast than in the Midwest. The most important part is what I wanted to know. Remember, deaths in the Midwest from the three storms included those dates right there for a regional total of 48. Live human experimentation conducted on American citizens. Who was it? Our government that blatantly killed 48 people and injured more than 3,000. Unbelievable. Who cares about all the property damage? You can't replace those lives. What about all those bodies and people who were maimed, who didn't need to be maimed because of stratospheric aerosol injection and terraforming the planet and killing humanity just as they killed those civilians right there? Unbelievable. Environmental intelligence. Look at that right there. That's why they need to know what they're doing. They're just manipulating the planet, doing whatever experiments that they want to do. They don't care. They control the laws. They control the judges. They control the police. They control everything. No one's going to stop them. That's why they're allowed to just conduct these live human How sick that they're just conducting all these Notice how when I took the picture of these chemtrails, it was all sunny, and then all of a sudden now it's cold and winter-like, exactly like how I say. It's dark, unbelievable, terraforming right before our the blatant evidence. If you live in Houston right now, you know exactly what I'm saying. Look at how cold it is compared to how it was before the chemtrails in the sky. What more proof do you need? Do you really need to wait for the manual to show up at your door like a Jehovah's Witness, how I mentioned yesterday? I mean, do we really need to wait for Humanity Plus? Do we really need to wait for the transhumanists to just start absorbing and forcing everyone to take brain chips and I mean, imagine this. All those people who are into that, imagine when they start getting businesses and stuff like that. Imagine when they start becoming lawmakers, and they start projecting their sick reality onto the rest, just as 9/11 always goes back. If they could just blatantly use directed energy weapons and emulsify a building and kill all those Americans on that day and lie about it, and force 2 planes, 3, all the nonsense on that, all the illogical fallacy. Oh, what's to stop them from using, more directed energy weapons, from incinerating an alien? What's to stop them from using stratospheric aerosol injection to freeze us, to call that global ice age that they were once complaining so much about but never came, so now they need to force it upon us, just like the plane in the child. Oh, here comes the suck. Just like Rush Limbaugh, how he's the useful everything. They even believe it. Notice how 9/11 and everything, they regurgitate that illogical fallacy to continue to keep everyone on that establishment planet, whether they know it or not. They are the wall. Oh, David Knight knew where I was going with that. He already saw that they are the walrus. Yeah, they are the walrus. They are the weapon system. This is an unbelievable weapon system used against the minds of the American population. How could it be that we stand for the blatant assault, the tyranny on the minds of the American people, just as they push that tranny kid agenda? How is it that none of your... Just think about this. This is all those... There's no way. I almost guarantee you, even all these conservative parents, when you show them that stuff, they have no idea what's going on in their child's school, especially if they're in the public school system. Unbelievable to believe everything that they would be told or seen. What would be really interesting is to get hidden. Who's gonna do the Project Veritas, but of public school and elementary school, just to get more insane footage. Raw, unfiltered. I mean, we need it. People need to be shown it, because with those Judases up there, they're leading our Jesus America down the path to eventually be crucified. Unbelievable. Just as how I always flash this, just like how if President Trump really does nothing, we will see this reality come whether we like it or not. Why do I always show this? Because this is beyond important. We need to be shown this, just like people need to be shown the glitter horned monster, the soul destroyer of children, just like I was showing you destroyer of worlds, and they are the future. Remember, I'm trying to remember the name of I think it's like We Are the Future or something, for Happy, the very last episode where that pedo it's exactly the children's program. Everything is really falling to unbelievable, just as this never offline. When they force everyone to get RFID'd or force you to have your phone all the time, the year man becomes immortal. Neurological integration systems. But yet, why is this so hard to believe? Why isn't this shown on Tory News or anywhere else? Is it really that, even though we have all the documents, even though we could have free energy with using these dispersed laser-based weapon systems in space to beam down microwave energy from the sun to receivers, and they can transmit all that energy and give it out? We already pay taxes anyway. I mean, why not? Is it really so hard to believe that these Death Stars are floating up there and we're actually paying for them? I mean, is this really so hard to believe? I mean, they're trying to force Russian collusion, all the other imaginary Matrix agents sit down with Cypher, ignorance is bliss, delicious steak reality. But yet, it's hard to believe that 9/11 was an inside job. There's directed energy weapons. There was no fire up in paradise, but yet all the buildings were somehow emulsified, just as the towers were on 9/11. Same exact scenario with the concrete and the dust. Hardly any... Is it really so hard to believe, more so than Russian collusion? All the things that I talk about? I mean, let's be for real. This makes more sense than anything you see on TV, but the problem always stands is, who are you gonna go to, huh?